The second GTA 6 trailer is here, and I thought in this video I'm just going to break down some of the things I've noticed, some of the cool little details, some of the hints at maybe some of the gameplay mechanics that we're going to be able to experience when this finally comes out next year. Now before I talk too much more about it, I do just want to throw up this comparison between Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 6. Now this is the GTA 5 trailer, so obviously from pre-release they have updated it a lot since then. But it's just crazy the leap between these games. I know it has been 2 console generations, it's been a very long time, but I think it's easy to watch the GTA 6 trailer and just think, oh yeah, this is what GTA 5 looks like. It's really not. Like, it looks absolutely incredible. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning of the trailer and just start spotting some of the cool little details in it. So, first of all, before we get too far into it, want to point out as well, this was all captured on PlayStation 5. It says that at the end. I'll just let that sink in for a moment. Apparently, this was all captured real time on PlayStation 5. Not even PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, I think it's possible maybe they said PlayStation 5 and they actually mean the Pro. Hopefully they'd clarify that at some point, because I almost can't believe that it looks this good just on the base PlayStation 5. But if it does, that's incredible, because if it looks this good on the base PlayStation 5, what's it going to look like on the PS5 Pro or on a high-powered PC? Like, what kind of witchcraft have they done to get it looking this good? But let's start breaking down some of the details in the trailer. So this is the first shot and it looks like the Florida Keys. I'm going to keep using the real world versions of names for all this stuff. So we know that GTA 6 takes place in kind of Vice City, which is kind of Miami. And we know that just like with GTA 5, there'll be some area around the city. Later on, I can show you some of the locations we're going to go to. They've actually put up a website with all of that information in it. But here you can see the sort of Florida Keys style area. Looks super interesting. Really cool that there's like so much water space around here. Obviously boats will be a big deal of this, but also there's tons of little islands, just like the real Florida Keys, that I'm sure we'll be able to explore and find loads of stuff. There's also a few other little details here that I thought was kind of cool. So you can see, looks like there's some maybe sea turtles or manatees or something under there, which is very cool. And in the distance, you can just see this big tower type building. Now, as I said, I am going to go through the locations they have said are in the game already. I am wondering if that's maybe Cape Canaveral or the Kennedy Space Center. Obviously, in real life, you can't see it from the Florida Keys, but the game world will obviously be much smaller. And that looks like a very big building without any other buildings near it. So I don't think it's like the city center or anything like that. Cape Canaveral, Kennedy Space Center, has a huge building, the Vehicle Assembly Building, that is a giant rectangle that stands out very much like that. It would be super cool if we had the Space Center in the game. I'm not quite sure how they would tie it in. I can't imagine that they would let us, hijack a rocket. That would be crazy. But this is Grand Theft Auto, so anything's possible, I guess. Now, there's tons of little things in here. One of the things that I really like about this trailer is all of the little animals. You can see the birds and stuff like that, but there's also, you can see a massive lizard, like an iguana or something, crawling its way through, which I think is really cool. And another thing that blows my mind, because apparently this is running on a base PlayStation 5, is the amount of ray tracing that seems to be in this. Or they're doing something very clever with reflections. So you can see here, you can actually see the blue sky in the kind of chrome of the back of this car, and in the grass and stuff like that. And there's loads of examples as we go on of really, really impressive reflections. You can see some stuff in the puddles down there. And here, like, the character has loads of sweat on them. Like, is that going to be a thing? That characters are going to get sweaty as we go on? That felt like it was a big deal maybe in, like, the Xbox 360 era, was it? When there was games like Fight Night, and you had, like, characters getting, like, the NBA games and stuff like that, where characters would get sweatier as the game went on. I wonder if they're bringing that back. I don't think that's really been a thing in GTA yet. And it even looks a bit like he's got some sunburn on his shoulders. I'm partly wondering if it's like San Andreas, where if you ate too much and didn't exercise, you could put on weight. Maybe in GTA 6, you can end up getting a little bit sunburned. I'm not sure. But here's another example of the ray tracing. You can see that is reflecting some trees that aren't in the shot right now, but in the game world, they are there and they're being reflected there. Maybe this is going to be one of those games like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle that actually require ray tracing in order to be able to run. Who knows? And I mean, this almost looks like this is just going into gameplay. I feel like this is one of the shots that's the most like, yeah, this is what the game's going to look like. This is what it's like when you're playing it. In which case, that's absolutely wild that the game could possibly look this good. You can imagine it being like, okay, he walks in there and then you take over and then you're controlling him. And I'm not going to point this out every time in every shot throughout this trailer, but just look at the details, like the keys hanging up over there, the little bit of light coming through. It actually looks the way a dark room does when you've got like sunlight coming in through the background. It all looks so good, like almost too good to be true. Now, as we go through here, there's a car here that I think is really interesting. This car in the background, you can see the paw prints going up. That makes me think maybe we might get some extra car customization in the game, because I think before in GTA, someone might be able to correct me, you could control things like the paint job and the body kits and things like that, but you haven't been able to put like vinyls and stickers and stuff like that on. Maybe this is kind of a hint that that is going to be something that we can do in this. I love all the detail on the till. There's a number here. There's a couple of phone numbers in this trailer that are very, very prominent. If there's anyone in the US who wants to try giving this a call and let me know in the comments what they get, please do. So that number is 305-555-0145. Try calling it, see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some like little Easter eggy type thing. Now also, when this cash machine pops out, just look at the coins. You know, you'd think this would just be a static model where, okay, the cash register opens, that's impressive. Inside would just be some coins and money. But the coins actually move. Look at this. The coins like wobble a little bit. I just think that's absolutely amazing. Now, here we can see what looks to be first-person driving. No big surprise. We've had first-person for a while in GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2. So it looks like first-person is going to be coming back. On the signs, we can see the Vice City Airport and the port, and then Southside and Peacock Bay. So we've got some ideas of locations there. Massive tower blocks there. Again, just like any other open world game, I don't think every building's going to be explorable or anything like that. Every now and then you read rumors like that, and I don't think that's true. And you can see here, this building definitely doesn't look like you could wander around each of those bits. Those are just kind of props. It looks like, I don't know, what's that? Like those loopy bits up there. No idea. Maybe there's some kind of pool or something up there. Now, when he looks up, you can see this plane. There's a massive plane up there. Again, GTA 5, we did have massive planes. Is that a giant Boeing? I don't think it's not an A380 because it doesn't have the second deck all the way along. But it's a big 4-engine plane. We actually see that plane a couple more times in the trailer as we go on. More crazy reflections, by the way. Here, there's a tiny little detail that I think is very cool, that on their trainers, you can actually see the dirt from the sand on their trainers. Just little things like that, like your clothes getting dirty based on the environment that you're in because he's working out on the beach. I think that's very cool. And all the lighting on the sand looks absolutely amazing. And here you can see like the light sort of refracting through the bottles. Looks amazing. Someone playing the lottery over there. Maybe that's going to be something in the gameplay that you're going to be able to play the lottery or something like that. Another animal. We've got a cat up there. Very cool. Look at the light. Look at the light coming through there. It just looks incredible. And I think this is one of the better looking scenes in the entire trailer. Like being able to see the... well, I'm just going to rewind a little bit actually. Being able to see the lighting from the police cars up on the wall. I think this also does tease at maybe what I think might be one of the big themes of the game is the way police interact with the community. And that's been a thing in every Grand Theft Auto, you know, police brutality, police overstepping their boundaries. It definitely seems like that's a big deal. And here you've got, you know, a squad car as well as a undercover car and people getting shoved up against the wall. Also, just in terms of amazing details in the game, look at this lighting. All looks incredible. Sort of lighting almost wrapping around those rails. That looks crazy. And you can see people on the train. Like the train's not just sort of a static model. You can actually see the people wandering around inside it. Crazy. Then you got the prison. You can see that plane again. Now, I wanted to point out that plane because one thing that I think's interesting with stuff like this is obviously if they were doing a CGI trailer, you could expect it to look as good as it does. But things like seeing the repeated assets and stuff like that just kind of remind me that this is a game we will be able to play. This is what the game will look like when we're playing it. It'll probably look better because, you know, it's not coming out for another year and this was only on PlayStation 5. And hopefully, because of the delay, I'm hoping that the PC release will now be sort of day and date with console. So it could look even better than this. That's just absolutely crazy. And you've got that weird effect that you get when you get two chain link fences in front of each other. Bonus points if you can remember the name for that. There is a name for that effect, isn't there? When there's two meshes in front of each other, it makes a weird effect. Anyway. Really like this guy, the badge. Super shiny. Just looks very cool. And the reflections in his glasses. Now, I haven't talked too much about the characters. There is a bit of information as we get through to the end of the trailer. They've put up a website that tells us a lot more about who the characters are and what we know about them and stuff like that. So a little bit more to come on that as we go through. Now you can see her climbing up there and using a gun. I don't know, is that some sort of MP5 or someone else will correct me, it's some other kind of SMG. I was thinking before GTA 6 was shown off a little bit more, maybe they would tone down the violence in this. Because GTA 5 was obviously super over-the-top cartoon violence, which is... People say like, oh, that's what GTA is known for. But GTA 4 wasn't all like that. And I did wonder if maybe they'd try and make this a bit more realistic. But as you see through this trailer, no, they're sticking with the absolutely crazy, over-the-top violence all the way through. Which isn't a bad thing, you know, it's just a choice. Just looks amazing. Look at all the water and a little boat bobbing up and down. Oh, it looks incredible. Yachts in the background as well. I know we had yachts added to GTA Online, but here you've got, you know, loads of NPCs having a party on it. It'll be interesting to see like what happens if you go and commandeer a yacht that's having a pool party on it. What are the NPCs going to do? Are they all going to freak out? Are they going to hold on? Are they all going to jump off at once? That sort of stuff. I'm super excited to like experiment with this world and see what you can do with it. This looks absolutely cool. This looks amazing with like the rain and all the harsh lights on there. And obviously you've got a seaplane. We see that again later. Again, going with this idea of, you know, police overstepping their work. Obviously, it's been a contentious issue in a while for America of prisoners doing, you know, forced labor for not very much pay, if any at all. It definitely seems like that's a thing. Also, nerding out about graphics still, high-vis jacket where the fluorescent bit actually catches the light from the car and is super reflective. Very cool. She's got a pet snake for some reason. Or he's got a pet snake. I'm guessing this is going to be like the new Lester type character. You know, like somebody who will give you missions and stuff like that. Be a bit of comic relief. In the bar, tons and tons of cool details. You know, the neon lights over here. The cash register actually showing stuff. I think all of this, very cool. Even bottle openers behind the bar to open the bottles. Very cool. Little bit there where you can see some motorbikes in the background. Not sure if that's going to be a return of the Lost and the Damned or something like that, or they're just showing off the cool motorbikes. Who knows? Again, all of this section, just lots and lots of very cool lighting, and I think this is more introducing us to a load of the different characters. There's a cool little moment here. So as this character jumps off this kind of window, climbing out, seemingly is that escaping from a prison or something like that? I really like the way that they land. Like, they actually land in a more realistic way. It's not like a combat roll that people always seem to do in video games, as if everyone knows how to do that. She actually just stumbles onto the ground like a normal person. Also, as she's climbing down, her trainer bending realistically. So many cool little details in this game. Look, the way she lands here. She just sort of falls, uses her hands, and then gets up. Not the best way to land, I'm sure, but much more realistic than a lot of games show. So, like I said, if you were ever worried about, oh, maybe they're going to be toning it down or something, doesn't look like it. Lots and lots of shooting still. And here you can see, now this is really interesting. This is my conspiracy theory moment for this entire video. This train back here, I'm sure someone can correct me. Does Miami have any monorail-y type trains like that? Because one place I know definitely does, and that's Orlando Airport. And it's very much a dream of mine. On the list of locations they've put on the website, they don't mention anything that looks like Orlando at all. I would love it if Orlando was there, because I'm a massive theme park fan. I think it would be so cool to see GTA's take on Disneyland or SeaWorld or Universal. I would love it if they had something from Orlando. And that train, to me, looks a bit like the one in the airport in Orlando. But I'm sure someone would just tell me, actually, yeah, they have something like that in Miami. And it will disappoint me immeasurably. The dress is very impressive, very sparkly. Now here we see some melee fighting from her. This is something that we'll see in the website. Actually talk about this a little bit. It seems like maybe that's going to be her kind of special skill. I wasn't a big fan of the sort of supernatural skills that you had in GTA 5, like Franklin being able to slow down time when he was driving and stuff like that. I would like it if maybe they had slightly more natural versions of special abilities to differentiate the characters. So maybe she'll be really good at melee fighting, can do kind of martial arts type stuff. Maybe the guy will be able to, like, I don't know, operate more crazy vehicles, like be able to fly stuff. I think we see him flying a helicopter later. Something like that could be very cool. Also, this looks like some sort of cage fighting thing. I'm guessing this will be a gameplay feature, you know, some sort of arena, being able to fight people, do some MMA fighting. I'm sure. Now here, this is an awesome scene, an awesome sequence. The explosions look so much better than they did in GTA, in a way they're just sort of destroying that police car there, and also illuminating all of this vehicle, and maybe even making a hair sort of blow in the wind from the explosion. That's very, very cool. Also, you can see she's using a grenade launcher, so like I said, the violence is still the way it was before. It's still absolutely ridiculous, which I think is probably a good thing. This is a very cool sequence as well. Like, this is, I'm guessing, in the landing gear of that massive plane that we saw before. You know, I'm guessing this will be a campaign mission, so it's going to be sort of canned animations and stuff like that. I doubt this is something you can do in free roam, but it's just such a cool idea having this fight spilling out here and then being able to see the city below. Absolutely crazy. One thing's really interesting. I've never been to Miami. It looks like the city is very much built on the water. Like, those buildings almost look like they're coming out of the water, which looks crazy. Unless there's going to be some storyline in this, that there's a massive flood or something. Who knows? Then him driving around with a massive safe tied to the back, bit Fast and the Furious style. Smaller than the Fast and the Furious one, but very similar. Now this is interesting, just someone recording themselves, like live streaming themselves or something. I heard on the UK IGN podcast, they were speculating that with the delay to GTA, one negative effect of it will be all of their kind of pop culture references and stuff will be another year out of date. And this actually happened with GTA 5. You know, if you remember, when GTA 5 came out, it was making fun of Facebook, you know. It was like trying to make topical jokes about the prevalence of reality shows, you know, those kind of reality talent shows. And that was all stuff that was a little bit old by the time GTA 5 came out, because obviously it had been written years before when it was more relevant, and then GTA 5 took a while to finally come out. And I assume the same thing's going to happen with GTA 6, that, you know, the beginning of stuff like TikTok live streaming and influencers and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see stuff like Mr. Beast style stuff showing up in it. Things that are maybe a little bit less relevant now will probably be in GTA 6 because it's just taken a very long time to get made. This looks very cool. Just you see the cars there. What's that? The Diablo, is it called in GTA? Very, very shiny. And you can see some of the customization. They've got those things that I know some people in America have. I think they are illegal everywhere in America. People still have them, where they're like big spikes that stick out from their hubcaps, from their alloys. So that looks like that's going to be a thing that you'll be able to customize cars with. And again, a bit more of the fancy ray tracing in here. Lovely, lovely neon lighting. Looks awesome. Now this scene I absolutely love. Not only does it have more birds, looks very cool, and you've got a TV screen here showing TV stuff, and there's a picture of a boat over here, but the TV screen is actually being reflected in a boat. Like, you can see her cap just there. It's being reflected there. Like, the ray tracing is insane on this. If this is really running on a PlayStation 5, I have no idea how they've managed to do it. Like, this is absolutely shocking. Maybe it will only be this level of ray tracing in cutscenes or something. I've got no idea. And even like the bottles having different levels of drink inside them. Crazy. Also, there's this little console here. Looks a lot like a PlayStation 5 controller, doesn't it? And that looks like it, the console looks like it could be from the PlayStation 5 family of consoles. Imagine if Sony now came out and said, oh, we're going to release the PlayStation 5 Mini, and it ends up looking just like that. That would be a cool way for them to reveal it, if they were like, oh yeah, you might have seen it in the GTA 6 trailer. But unfortunately, we do see that controller from another angle in a second, and it doesn't look like a PlayStation controller anymore. There, you can see it there. It does have the light bar at the top, I guess, but the rest of it doesn't really look like one. I love all these things like the scuffs on the floor where it looks like they've dragged furniture in. One of the floorboards is a little bit higher. She's got one of those high-vis jackets on that we saw earlier. There's a load of like stuff shoved up there above the door, just an extra little bit of storage space. Just the amount of detail in this trailer blows my mind. Now here, again, just talking about the level of violence and mayhem that you're going to have in the game. Here's a military helicopter with somebody on a machine gun sticking outside of it. The helicopter looks like it's got rockets chasing someone over what looks like the Everglades. And then you see that he's flying it. So, like I said, maybe that'll be his special ability, that he can fly like military vehicles and stuff like that. And then again, a yacht with people partying on it. Fairly similar to what we saw before. Different type of helicopter up there. Seaplane, that might be the same model as the one that we saw outside in the rain before, near the hangar. Look at the details on the bike. Like, look at that. The light looks absolutely incredible. Jumping onto the back of a truck off a motorbike in order to steal a car out the back of it. Again, very, very Fast and the Furious. It feels like we're going to get a lot of Fast and the Furious style things in that. Which, again, pretty similar, pretty normal for GTA, I think. Someone shooting from a boat at a helicopter. Pretty normal GTA stuff, I guess. This is a very cool shot just because it looks so nice. Look at the bullets, like, puffing up. Like, I'm guessing that's bullet hits, like, puffing up off the road. They look absolutely amazing. They're catching the light from the headlights. Just looks incredible. Somebody jumping on. Now, I would say, oh, look at the animation. That's incredible. But GTA 5 actually had a lot of animation like this that was just kind of specifically made for certain campaign missions. And then that's the final shot where it just kind of shows the lighting and the lovely color scheme. Looks absolutely amazing. Now, let's have a look at the information that is on the website. So, this is the new website that they've put up, and it is absolutely incredible. It's such a fantastic website, and there's loads of information in it. So let's get stuck into some of the stuff. This is all obviously a bit more confirmed. So, the story, Vice City, USA. Jason and Lucia have always known a deck is it Lucia or Lucia? I'm going to say Lucia, maybe. Have always known a deck is stacked against them, but when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. And look at this crazy, like, little bits of video that as you scroll down goes through. That's crazy. Anyway, so this is Jason, the guy. Jason wants an easy life, but things just keep getting harder. Jason grew up around grifters and crooks. After a stint in the army, might explain why he can use military vehicles, maybe. This is just my idea of this would be his character trait. Trying to shake off his troubled teens, he found himself in the Keys doing what he knows best, working for local drug runners. It might be time to try something new. It's very cool. And then meeting Lucia could be the best or worst thing to ever happen to him. Jason knows how it'd like to turn out, but right now it's hard to tell. And you can see a big assault rifle there, some sort of AR, and then a fancy looking phone in his hand. And he's gone fishing as well. All of these, by the way, you can expand them and see, like, okay, that's the scene. It's very cool. He looks like Ryan Gosling there for some reason. Like, all of these bits, you can have a look and see a bit more of it. So then, Lucia, Caminos. Lucia's father taught her to fight as soon as she could walk. Like I said, melee fighting seems to be her speciality. Life's been coming at her swinging ever since. Fighting for her family landed her in the Leonida Penitentiary. Sheer luck got her out. Lucia's learned her lesson. Only smart moves from here. So you can see there some of the training. You know, maybe that's something she'll do. She's got AirPods in. It's always nice seeing the things that sort of date it a little bit. Oh, some sort of like strawberry daiquiri or something like that, and a very fancy pool. Look at the ray tracing. You can see that. That to me looks like that is real 100% ray tracing, where everything's a little bit warped and stuff like that. But it doesn't look too realistic where you don't believe that it's real ray tracing. It looks like what you see in a lot of games. It just blows my mind that this is running on a PlayStation 5. Even the texture of the towel. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Anyway. More than anything, Lucia wants a good life her mum has dreamed of since her days in Liberty City. So she's from Liberty City, the setting for GTA 4 and 3. But instead of half-baked fantasies, Lucia's prepared to take matters into her own hands. So, fresh out of prison and ready to change the odds in her favour, Lucia's committed to her plan no matter what it takes. You can see there's a few more pictures there. I like how all of these pictures you sort of see as like a portrait of her, and it's like, oh, but there's someone there pointing a gun and she's waiting for them. Loads of little cool extra details. You can see this bike here, and then it's a liquor bar. Absolutely looks amazing. Right, and then only in Leonida, when the sun fades and neon glows, everyone has something to gain and more to lose. Oh, this is Cal Hampton, the guy I said looks a bit like he might be a sort of Lester-style character. What if everything on the internet was true? So he's a conspiracy theorist, like Lester. Jason's friend and fellow associate of Brian's, Cal feels safest hanging at home, snooping on Coast Guard comms with a few beers and some private browser tabs open. It's got some very silly tattoos as well. So you can see that looks like maybe they've been stealing something. You know, they've got big bags. Maybe that's like an early heist that you go on or something like that. Crazy golf, alligator-themed crazy golf. I'm assuming that means we're going to be playing crazy golf, which would be absolutely amazing. Would love to play some crazy golf. Weird t-shirt that with the cats. Right, so let's keep scrolling. Can you see anything more in the pool? Just a load of empty cans in the pool. He looks like he's going to be the comic relief, doesn't he? Look at that. Someone's got a pet lizard. A pet iguana with an actual crown and like a little handkerchief around them. Absolutely amazing. And you can see the crazy golf place in the background there as well. Then as we go through, they've actually got these bits where you can see a little bit of the location. So this is the Vice City one. And you can see a slightly smaller plane there. Sort of almost like the Hollywood sign, but the Vice City one there. Lots and lots of cool little shots of what it's going to look like. Some tennis. Oh no, sorry, basketball being played there. Thought it was a tennis court. Yeah, really nice view of the game space there. And there you can see some sort of rescue helicopter or something like that. A bus absolutely full of people. Looks like there's some kind of shootout going on down there. People running away from the police. They've done a really good job with these screenshots of trying to like pack as much interesting stuff into them. There's so much cool stuff in there. Maybe that'll be a customization option in GTA Online. You can have grills on your teeth. Is that what you call them? Grills? I don't know. Gems on your teeth, if that's a thing you want. And then there's a beach. Again, I was talking about people getting sunburned. You can see everyone looks like they're super sunburned. People in Miami, you need to buy some sun cream, really. And there's metal detecting. I'm guessing that might be some sort of activity. And pervy old men, maybe that'll be an activity as well. And then people dancing around on top of police cars and seemingly being arrested. Good times. There you go, a strip club. What else is here? Oh, this is a bit of the sort of entertainment district at night, the Sumerian and a concert hall. And you can see there, the docks look absolutely huge. And there's another kind of arena type thing there. Man, I just can't believe that we're going to get to play in these environments. This is absolutely crazy. See some quad bikes there and dirt bike type things, people driving through. That's a crazy buggy type thing just there. Some sort of beach buggy type thing. And that car's obviously got ridiculously big wheels on it. All looks very, very cool. But anyway, that's the Vice City bit. And then there's actually some areas. There's some bits talking about other characters. This is Booby Ike. He's a local Vice City legend and acts like it. One of the few to transform his time in the streets into a legitimate empire, spanning real estate, a strip club, and a recording studio. Booby's all smiles until it's time to talk business. So we can see some of like little things there. Oh, he's got a gun. See, that's what I like. It's like, oh, you can't say anything. Then it's like, no, he's got a gun. The guy's actually a badass. And then he's also in a strip club, apparently. And then as we go through, there's some more location bits, which I think are probably a bit more interesting. I'm just opening all of these up in case there's any more amazing details. So this is the Keys. This is like the Florida Keys, but obviously they've called it the Leonida Keys. And you can see here lots and lots of small islands, lots of water, lots of kind of open space to explore around here. Like how we had Mount Chiliad, I guess, and the deserts and stuff like that in San Andreas. Something like that. What the heck is that? Like a whale or something. Another iguana. Then there's a dog there as well. I love all these animals. Mobility scooters. Anyone who's been to Florida. There's a lot of people in mobility scooters in Florida. Lots of retirees and stuff like that. Some sort of bar. The Rusty Anchor. This looks really cool. Looks like obviously they'll be diving and the underwater is a lot more interesting than it was in GTA 5. You've got an eel. You've got a sea turtle. You've got a load of different fish and coral and stuff like that. And then a massive picture. This is on the edge of one of those yacht parties, I'm guessing. Inflatables and stuff. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how you can interact with all of these different like vehicles and stuff. And how the NPCs interact when you're messing around. Then there's Draquan Priest. Draquan's always more of a hustler than a gangster. Even when he was dealing on the streets to make ends meet. Breaking into music was the goal. And then a few more shots there. You can see a bit of a pool party. Those people are standing very awkwardly in a pool. I'm guessing maybe they have sorted out the animation for that. For how do people stand when they're in a pool? I feel like they don't just stand perfectly upright like that. Look at that. Look at that detail. You can actually see them mixing and stuff. Very cool. These don't seem to have anything sort of hidden in the background of these images. So this is Grass Rivers. This is the Everglades kind of area. And you can see there's some sort of scary people. What the hell is that? Is that a dead cat? Some sort of lynxy type thing? Or is it just sleeping covered in blood? And there's a crocodile. Those people look like you would not want to mess with them. And you can see here the area a bit better. So you can see Vice City in the background a little bit. But here there's this kind of, I don't know, marina, bay area, a shrimp restaurant. People going out on fishing tours and stuff like that. Is he farming for crocodiles with a shotgun? Is that a shotgun? That looks absolutely crazy. But yep, so you've got crocodiles in the water. And then here's like a police chase going through that. Again, more crocodiles. Seems like there's going to be a lot of crocodiles. They really want you to get eaten by crocodiles in this, I think. And then we've got Real Dimes, Baylux and Roxy, aka Real Dimes, I get it, have been friends since high school. Girls with the savvy to turn their time shaking down local dealers into cold hard cash via spicy rap tracks and a relentless social media presence. So these are going to be your influencers, I guess. Just like any influencers that you know. And then that's them. There's a lot of dancing on top of cars. I wonder if this is going to be some sort of thing in it. Lots and lots of dancing on top of cars. And I'm guessing, obviously, lots of good music. Then you've got Port Gellhorn, sorry. I don't really know much about this area. I don't know what this is meant to be connected to in real Miami. This, to me, looks like any sort of rural Florida area. Obviously, as a tourist, this is the sort of places that you tend to see. Kind of random motels in the middle of nowhere, lots of palm trees around, little bit run down. Don't see people like that in the places that we stay, but, you know, there's some scary people out in the world. Lots of drug deals going on. Delights. What is that going on? Oh, someone pushing a trolley full of stuff. A monster truck just casually sitting in there. I don't know if that's classed as a monster truck, but that is a very, very big truck. Someone getting kicked out of the strip club. People having an intimate moment at a bonfire, sort of fire party, a fire pit party. And then Raul Batista. Experience counts, confidence, charm, and cunning. Raul's a seasoned bank robber, always on the hunt for talent, ready to take the risks that bring the biggest rewards. So I'm guessing he'll probably be hiring us at some point for a bank heist. Maybe that'll be one of the early missions that we end up doing. You see that? You can see there him working alongside of the others. Maybe he'll be a third character even. He looks pretty cool. Looks like they're really sort of like hyping him up to be a cool character. Or maybe he'll end up being a villain. Who knows? Then there's Ambrosia. Ambrosia is the industrial area, but there's also local biker gangs. Oh, so this isn't The Lost and the Damned. This is literally called Final Chapter of Ambrosia. Then you can see the industrial area there. I always think industrial areas in games like this are much less interesting. I don't really care about an industrial area all that much. Looks like there's some politics stuff going on there as well. Vote Erin Horshaw. Proud allies of diversity and treats. I'm sure that's going to go well, whatever that is. This looks like one of those buildings. Like when you go to America, you can see the buildings where they sell like Trump merchandise and stuff like that. Looks a bit like one of those shops. This guy's got, or she's got a big revolver. And you see his bikes in the background. An enforcer of the gang. Is that like a wildfire? I wonder if that's going to be a thing in the game, that, you know, fires can spread, because that definitely looks like that's what's happening there. And then what's going on there? Oh, having a car wash. Lovely. And then I think... Oh, then we've got Brian Heder. Nothing better than a mudslide at sunset. He's a classic drug runner. Still moving product for his boatyard with his third wife, Laurie. Brian's been around to let others do his dirty work. So we've got another character. Just another drug runner. Oh, that's the guy who we saw talking at the beginning of the trailer, isn't it? Maybe he'll be an early character on for that. Anything exciting in these pictures? No, he's just chilling. He's just an old guy hanging out, giving people guns or taking guns away from them. Oh yeah, this is another area, Mount Calaga. So we've got a national landmark on the state's northern border. See, that's interesting, the state's northern border. If this is Florida, obviously Miami is super far south. So it could include Disney World. It could include Universal SeaWorld and stuff. I don't know. I feel like they would have shown it off already, but it'd be a nice surprise if they do have some sort of theme park in it. I really hope they will. Oh, there's a raccoon there. Didn't even notice that before. That's very cool. Looks like there's going to be some dirt bike racing and stuff like that. Some hunting. There's a squirrel there. What's that meant to be? Oh, is that a deer? That's the top of its antlers. They're going hunting for deer, and that deer is completely oblivious. Not a good deer. It's a lovely news helicopter flying over the sunset. Looks very nice. This valley looks absolutely crazy. You can see there's some pipes being shipped there and some birds. Just a big old valley. I can imagine there's going to be like, oh, you need to ambush some convoy or something through there. That looks like maybe that's what's going on. Looks perfect for that kind of thing. And then more fancy ray tracing. We've got, what's that, a cougar or something? Hunting deer. Again, these deer seem super dumb in this game. And then someone kayaking. Oh yeah, doing a nice bit of kayaking as you go through. Flood gauge. I did say earlier, it looked a bit like the city was flooded. Maybe that's going to be a storyline in it, that the water level rises. That would change the map a lot. And you've got a freight train going through the map as well. Everyone loves a good freight train. And that's it. So, coming May 26, 2026, Grand Theft Auto 6. So, I hope you enjoyed that. It's half an hour of us just looking at all of the information that came out today. I don't really normally do videos like this, but I am super excited about Grand Theft Auto 6, and I just wanted to talk about it. So let me know in the comments if you enjoy this style of video. Maybe I'll do more for some other games. Obviously, if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, dislike if you didn't, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.